Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Irons in the Fire. Doing a little more metal work today, but this time no fire, all trim metal. So let's get this out of the way. You're gonna mess this up a couple of times, or maybe not. Maybe you're more of a professional than I am, but I got a whole stack of junk laid in here where I just went through trying to figure this out. So sorry, but I got it done. I think what you're gonna like about this is you're not gonna have to go buy dimensional lumber. You can use trim coil stock you've already got on hand that's probably already color matched to the project you're working on. The biggest deal about this is it's 100% waterproof. There's no nails, no glue, no caulk, no nothing. You wrap this around the post, it's free floating, free standing. It's free to move up and down, side to side, and yet it's substantially tight. It's not going anywhere. And we have no nail or screw hole intrusions to count. So check that out. This is going to wrap on one side of your face, coming around with a hem bend. It doesn't just go 5/8 on this third face, it comes in 1.25 inches. Hard to focus in on that for you, but can you see that there is about 3/8 of an inch of allowable tolerance there? What that means is we're going to be able to lock onto this side, pull my tension around to this side, and leaving these two hems slightly still open. We're going to lock those in, pull them in tight by hand, and then gently peck them down with a rubber mallet. And then also when it comes to removing this piece, we're going to take either a 5-in-1 like painter's tool or chisel or even a knife blade, get in here and just open that hem back up and pop everything off. But after you've opened that hem back up, this and these can be separated. First step, if you're working with a 5.5-inch wide post, your basic 6x6, you're going to want 14 inches of material to do what we need. I've got this marked at 15.5. For my cutoff wheel, I've got 1.5 inches offset. I'm going to cut off 14 inches, have my starting material. All right, starting with the 14 inches of material, I want two 90-degree bends, 1.5 inches on both sides of the piece. So what I'm going to want to do now, this is my profile. I want to take face side out and I want to do a hem bend coming back this way, but I want this to come in about 1/4 inch further. I don't want the hem all the way out at the edge. And for that, I'm going to eyeball just a little bit. Van Mark break, you get 5/8 of an inch right here from the bend line to the outside edge. I'm going to use that to my advantage. I'm going to eyeball about another 1/4 inch out past my rubber guideline. I'm going to give that the beginnings of a hem, but we don't want to close it up. Let's go ahead and start the hem. Don't close it up. Other side, you can lock it in a little tighter if you wish. Again, eyeballed about 1/4. This part is actually less important than the first 90-degree bend because that's going to dictate your 5.5 and 5.5 face. Those parameters need to be spot on. I got one side that's semi-closed up and I got one side that's open. Next up, we're going to go 5.5 inches right down the middle. We're going to bend this in. That way we have our half post profile. Here's my starting profile. I've got 5.5, 5.5. I've got a semi-closed hem. I've got an open hem. When I go to install my next outer facing piece, we're going to lock into this semi-closed hem. We're going to pull it around, get a little bit of a pass through, and tuck it into this open hem. We'll close everything manually and with a rubber mallet on the post. This part of the metal work is a little bit easier. I need 12¼ inches for this piece, 5½, 5½ for 11, and then I want to add on 1¼ for my 2 hem bends. So I've got this set now at 13¾ for my 1½ offset. We're going to cut it off, leave me with 12¼ All right, we got a 12¼ inch piece. Again, this is easy. I want a hem bend on both sides, 5/8 inch. Oh, and I should mention, these hems go to the inside of your metal. Again, we're not going to lock these in tight. I'm not going to close them up all the way. Kind of the same thing we did last time. This one's semi-bent, semi-locked in. This one we're going to leave open a bit. This one will have that pass-through, that pull around to begin locking it in manually. So at this rate, let's go ahead and do 5½, 5½, 90-degree bend. And we've got our profile. So let's give it a go. Take this first piece. Let's lock that guy onto the post. And if you've got yourself enough bearing and you've made your measurements real nice and your post is pretty true, that ought to be relatively easy. All right, your next step, I'm going to lock this on my left side of this face and pull it around, get a little pass through, and lock it into this and create a hem with that. This part takes some finagling and some interesting pressure in places, but with a little bit of luck and a lot of nice measuring and maybe some praying, you'll probably get it. It's at that point I wish I had left that other hem even a little bit more open, in fact. So don't be afraid to leave him a little open. Also, if you have a friend that can help you do this, call them. At this point right now, I've got 2 hems ready to be finalized. So right now, I'm going to take and I'm going to begin the process of pushing this together to start this hem. Trying to keep a decent amount of pressure on that inside piece. I'll pause here to note, make sure you got all this locked into itself before you begin to press it down, or you're going to have a bad time. Awesome, but we're not completely done yet. We still actually have to close this up. What better way to do that than by hammering things? I've got the trusty old rubber mallet I've had for umpteen years. If you have any better ideas for this, please comment and let me know if something else would work better than what I'm about to do. Keep these pulled together as you do this. And then we'll transition over here to what was our more open side. We really want to pull these together and then lightly hammer that hem into place. This is where you want to make sure you pull any slack, any bearing out of this side and you've still got an 1/8, 3/16, maybe about 1/4 of an inch of lap on that hem, and you're good to go. You can tighten that up with some heavier blows with a mallet if you need. Might get a little heavy-handed here, but as I say, not as I do. Of course, we can't forget everybody's favorite part about the internet. I need you guys to tell me what I'm doing wrong. Truth is, if you rag on me a little bit, I might actually get better. If I get better, I'll keep making better content, and then even more dudes can learn about stuff that we don't actually know about. So hit the comments below, subscribe, let me know what you think. I'm all the time doing stuff like trim metal work and blacksmithing work, and obviously running around on property with the kids and getting into shenanigans and backwoods whatnottery. And if you want to see more of that, well, come hang out with us. We'll see you guys next time.